Welcome back to the channel. After episode 2 of Wistoria season 2 absolutely destroyed everyone emotionally, Rosty's sacrifice, the Vander is still standing, while completely helpless. Episode 3 had the weight of the world on its shoulders. And here's my honest take before we even start. Episode 3, titled One Single Magic Spell, is an ambitious installment that wants to juggle a sprawling battlefield, dozens of named characters, and a major power-up for its protagonist, all inside a standard 23-minute runtime. Double Sama. Does it fully succeed? Not entirely. But does it deliver the moment Wistoria fans have been waiting for since episode 1 of season 1? Absolutely. Without question. Because episode 3 is the episode where Will Serfort finally discovers his magic. And when it happens, it is everything. Today we are breaking down every single moment of Wistoria. Wand and Sword Season 2 Episode 3, One Single Magic Spell. Like button. Subscribe if you're new. Let's get into it. Fast recap. Monsters flooded the capital during Terminalia. The Magia Vander, completely drained from renewing the Great Barrier, were locked in the tower by Master Aaron because if even one of them dies, the barrier falls permanently and the celestial host invades the entire world. So the defense of the city fell entirely to students, high mages, and the dwarves, who joined the fight for the very first time after the combat ban was lifted. Will dominated the regular monsters. But when the Vander appeared, a floor 40 dungeon beast capable of absorbing the dead to grow stronger, he was completely outmatched. The episode ended with Rosty sacrificing himself to give Will a fighting chance, a moment that hit the entire community like a freight train. Will is now grieving. The Vander is still standing, and episode 3 has to carry all of that into something meaningful. Let me be honest with you right away about episode 3's structure, because understanding it helps everything else make sense. Rather than advancing the battle with a tight sequence of escalating stakes, the episode spends its first two-thirds hopping between a long list of characters: Julius, Wignall, Lahanna, Rose, Mike, Colette, Sion, Clary, Professor Eliza, the Headmistress, Iris, and more, to remind viewers they exist and are participating in the fight. Double Sama. The intended effect is one of chaos and suspense, like the storming of Normandy Beach. In practice, though, it's a frustrating series of scenes that feel more like padding than anything else. Art threat. Every character gets a quick moment, a line or two, a small action beat, a named graphic flashing on screen, and then we immediately cut to someone else. The goal is clearly to show that this is a citywide crisis involving everyone we've met over 2 seasons of Wistoria, and that intention is genuinely good storytelling instinct. But the execution doesn't land as cleanly as it should. Instead of feeling like an epic multi-front battle, it ends up feeling like a checklist. You're barely invested in one character's situation before the episode moves on to the next. The scenes are only allowed to last long enough to read the names and hear a couple of lines before abruptly cutting to someone else. Double Sama. That said, certain moments in this section do work. Colette fighting while clearly terrified but refusing to stop is genuinely compelling. Sion's coordination with the dwarves shows real tactical thinking. And Iris, who helped lift the combat ban, is everywhere, holding things together with a quiet authority that reminds you she's one of the most capable characters in this entire cast. The chaos of the first two-thirds is real, but it's not all wasted. And everything it builds toward in the final act makes it worth sitting through. While the battlefield hops around, the episode keeps coming back to Will, who is still reeling from Rosty's death and his own inability to stop the Vander. And in one of the episode's most emotionally raw moments, Will breaks. Not in anger, in grief and confusion. After witnessing Rosty's tragic death and being confronted with his own limitations, Will questions Professor Werkner about why he's the only one unable to use magic. This is the question Will has been carrying his entire life. Why him? In a world where magic is everything, where every single student at Regarden Academy can cast spells, where the entire structure of society is built around magical ability, why is he the only one who can't? What does that mean about who he is? What does it mean about whether he actually belongs here? He's fought through every obstacle with willpower and his sword. He's earned respect from people who once mocked him. He's achieved things nobody thought were possible without magic. And yet, people keep dying around him. Rosty is gone, and Will couldn't stop it. He asks Werkner the question directly. Why can't he use magic? And before Werkner can answer, Mars appears. Mars brutally attacked them, leaving Werkner with a huge hole in his chest. This only deepens Will's self-doubt, even as Werkner tries to reassure him until his final breath. The visual of Werkner standing there with a massive wound, still trying to comfort Will. The shocking effect is unfortunately stifled somewhat by the unintentionally visual of the guy just standing there and smiling at Will with a hole the size of a watermelon in his chest. Art threat, it's one of those moments where the dramatic intent is absolutely there, but the execution makes it land slightly off. According to Finn, Werkner is still alive. Barely, but alive, which at least means Will hasn't lost another person today. But the damage to Will's spirit is real. He's now in the deepest pit of self-doubt he's been in since the series began. And right at Will's lowest moment, someone new appears. Finn. Finn is a mysterious figure who has been lurking at the edges of this season, seen briefly but never properly explained. And now, with Will crouched on the ground next to a barely breathing Werkner, with the Vander still out there and the city still in flames, Finn steps forward and starts talking. What Finn tells Will is the answer to the question Werkner never got to finish. In Finn's words, Will Serfort can only use a single type of magic, though it's unlike the elemental magic wielded by everyone else in the anime. Everyone at Regarden Academy uses elemental magic: fire, water, earth, wind, lightning. They channel it through wands. They cast spells. That is the established magical grammar of this entire world. Will's magic doesn't work that way. It's not elemental. It's not channeled through a wand. Will Serfort's magic depends on his will and his courage to keep going on. He isn't magicless. He never was. The magic inside him is just completely different from anything anyone has seen before. It doesn't respond to spells or wands. It responds to him, to his resolve, his determination, his refusal to quit even when quitting would make sense. Every moment he kept fighting when he should have fallen. Every time he stood back up when everyone told him he couldn't. That was his magic. It was always there. It just never had a name or a form. And now, with Rosty gone, Werkner down, the city burning, the Vander still standing, and the one person who ever believed in him trying to tell him something important with his last breath, Will's magic doesn't just awaken. It erupts. Without a doubt, Will Serfort surpassed his own limits in the third episode of Wistoria Season 2. Finn played a crucial role in deactivating Will's limiters. The transformation sequence is the visual highlight of the entire episode, and honestly one of the best sequences Wistoria has produced across both seasons. Will's magic activates, and it doesn't look like anything anyone else in this world does. No wand, no spell incantation, no elemental effect. Just pure, raw energy, radiating from Will himself. The color palette shifts. The air around him warps. Will even gets long, flowing Sephiroth locks to mark the occasion. Art threat, yes. His hair literally changes as part of the transformation. Is it a little over the top? Yes. Does it work completely in context? Also yes. This is a shonen power-up moment done with full commitment, and it earns every second of its drama. The Vander, which moments ago was completely dominating Will, now faces a completely different fighter. Will moves differently. Hits differently. Everything about his physical presence has changed, and the fight that follows is the episode's best sequence by a wide margin. Fast, kinetic, and visually spectacular. The kind of animation that reminds you why Wistoria has always been one of the best-looking shows of its season. Will tears through the Vander with a ferocity and power that none of his previous fights have matched. The monster that was absorbing the dead and growing stronger has finally met something it cannot simply outlast. Will ends the fight. The Vander goes down. The city is safe. With the battle over, the episode takes a breath, and the questions start flooding in. What exactly is Will's magic? Finn explained it in broad terms. Courage, will, determination, but the mechanics are still mysterious. Can he use it again deliberately? Is there a cost to activating it? Why did it take until now, this specific moment of loss and grief, to unlock? With Will Serfort's limiter now deactivated, some questions emerge, from his intriguing relationship with Finn to his potential to become a powerful mage blade. And Finn himself is a mystery. Who is he? How does he know what he knows about Will's magic? Why did he show up at this exact moment? The episode introduces him as a clear major player in Will's story going forward, but gives you just enough to be fascinated without explaining anything fully. Rosty is still gone. Werkner is still gravely wounded. The victory is real, but it came at a cost, and Will is going to carry that cost for a long time. This isn't a clean, happy ending. It's a turning point that changes Will permanently. So that is Wistoria, Wand and Sword Season 2 Episode 3, One Single Magic Spell. It's a mixed bag. It contains one genuinely compelling power-up and a few strong character beats. But those highlights are buried beneath a rushed parade of short scenes that feel like padding. Double Sama, the first two-thirds of the episode are messy and unfocused. The pacing struggles under the weight of trying to show too many characters in too little time. But the final act? The Finn reveal, the magic activation, the transformation, the Vander fight. If the series uses the momentum from Will's transformation effectively next week, this episode will be forgiven as a clumsy but necessary setup. Double Sama, because Will Serfort now has magic, his own kind of magic, unlike anything anyone in this world has seen. And everything that comes next is going to be built on that foundation. 2 seasons of watching this boy fight without the one thing everyone said he needed. And it turns out, he had it all along. He just needed to break completely before he could find it. That is worth every messy minute of Episode 3. And that is your complete breakdown of Wistoria, Wand and Sword Season 2, Episode 3, One Single Magic Spell. A chaotic battlefield parade that tests your patience. Will questioning everything after Rosty's sacrifice. Mars putting a Werkner-sized hole in the plan. Finn appearing out of nowhere with the answer Will has been searching for his entire life. And then, the moment we have all been waiting for since Season 1, Episode 1. Will Serfort's magic finally, completely, explosively awakens. Long flowing hair and everything. This show. I love this show. Now I want to hear from you in the comments. What do you think Will's magic actually is at a deeper level? Is it literally powered by courage and willpower? Or is there something more specific going on that Finn isn't telling us yet? And who is Finn? Drop your theories below. This is one of the most exciting reveals the show has made, and I need to know what you all think. If this breakdown helped you, a like takes 2 seconds and genuinely helps the channel. It means everything. And if you want every single episode of Season 2 covered right here, subscribe and hit the bell. We are not missing a moment of this. See you next week for Episode 4. Until then, the sword is mightier than the wand.
Yeah!